This is Crystal. Welcome to the Willing Vessel podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. How has your 2023 started off? I hope really well. I cannot say the same for mine. It did not start out the way I would have liked at all. I worked January 1st, but then tested positive for COVID January 2nd. Yuck. Not at all how I expected to start the year. The first 2 weeks of the year have battled not feeling great and trying to get better. I haven't had a voice much of that time. I still sound a little froggy, I think. I have done a lot of binge watching. I watched a whole season of The Boys, and I don't even remember what else, but I remembered that I love The Boys. It is not one we watch very often, but it was so nice to watch something that is uplifting and allows you to be part of someone's dream coming true, especially when you are not feeling too great yourself. Now, as you know from my last post, my word for the year is deeper. I feel the Lord is calling me into a deeper relationship with Him and my husband. Well, being quarantined and having a severe migraine is not the best way to make this happen. My husband did take great care of me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciated having him home for that. And I am so thankful that God has given me the immune system and for medication to combat illness. But to be completely honest, I was getting pretty frustrated with how long it took me to get better. But God did give me the strength I needed to get better and to accomplish what has been set before me. Background on me is that I can be an all or nothing type of person. This is not a terrible personality trait. It can help you get a lot accomplished, but it is not good when things cannot be done exactly as you envision, and you tend to think that it cannot be done. You know, if you can't work out on Monday, so then the week is shot, and therefore you don't work out for the rest of the week type of person. Totally guilty. I've had to slowly learn that an all or nothing attitude is not actually beneficial, and that resourcefulness and fortitude gets a lot more accomplished. I have not been in the Word this much as I had planned for this year. That's okay, there is still time. But I did start studying the women listed in Jesus' line of descent: Tamar, Rahab, Ruth, and Bathsheba. This is all listed in Matthew 1. Tamar is an excellent example of perseverance for us. Sorry. Tamar was married to a young man named This man was wicked in the eyes of the Lord and lost his life. Tamar then was married to his brother Onan, as was their custom, in order to give heir and heir. It's kind of a heir and heir. But Onan did not honor his commitment to Tamar and prevented a pregnancy. This was evil in the sight of the Lord, so he lost his life as well. Then Tamar's father-in-law sent her back to her family, stating that his youngest son was too young to marry. But in truth, Judah was afraid that he would lose his last son, and he never had an intention of really honoring Tamar. So Judah lost his wife, and his youngest son grew to maturity, but he never made arrangements for Tamar. So Tamar then took action herself. She disguised herself in a veil and sat on the side of the road, knowing Judah was coming to town. When Judah noticed her, he thought she was a prostitute and propositioned her. She demanded his seal, cord, and walking stick as guarantee until he could bring her payment. But when Judah returned to pay her, there was not a prostitute to pay. He later learned that his daughter-in-law was with child. He thought she had played the harlot, and he sought to see her punished. But she produced his seal, cord, and staff as the father of his child. Judah knew that the shame was his because he had not honored his obligation to his son's widow. You can read of Tamar in Genesis 38. Her story is one of a woman not willing to give up. She persevered past the lot that had been handed to her. She could have stayed in her parents' home and acted like there were circumstances and just blaming others for the circumstances she was in. and she could have not done anything to try to change where she had been placed. But she didn't. She took things into her own hand, and she worked to improve her station in life. And I admire the courage and resourcefulness of Tamar. So even though this year may have not started as we wanted, we should not give up. Let's persevere to reach the goals that we set for ourselves. And the truth is, even if you have not had a setback yet this year, you more than likely will before the year is over. Life brings bumps along the road. If it was all smooth sailing, we would not learn, grow, and quite frankly, we would be bored. We also don't appreciate the good times without the hard times. So James 1:2, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing the testing of your faith produces patience. So let's persevere to run the race set before us in 2023. Thank y'all. Y'all be blessed, and hopefully I will be back next week. Was not planning to have this 2-week break. Actually, I think it ended up being 3 weeks because I did plan the week of Christmas to be off. But that is okay. Everything will work out, and we are going to have a wonderful year. Y'all be blessed.